Welcome to HOCKEYWIZTALKS podcast. Today I'll be talking about players to trade for and trade away in fantasy hockey. In this podcast, I talk about players to trade for and players to trade away in fantasy hockey. Players to trade for in fantasy hockey. Mark Scheifele. Mark Scheifele is having a slow start to the season. He only has 2 goals and 5 points so far this year. It's just a matter of time till Scheifele starts piling up points, so it would be smart to trade for Scheifele while his value is at an all-time low. Jamie Benn. Like many other Dallas Stars, Jamie Benn is not having a great start to the season. Benn only has 6 points this year, but he does have 81 face-off wins and 32 hits, so that has value in cat leagues. Jamie Benn is a great player to buy low on, as he typically is a second half player. Brock Boeser. Brock Boeser is having a slow start to the season. He only has 4 goals and 8 points so far this season. It's just a matter of time till Boeser starts piling up points, so it would be smart to trade for him while his value is low. Cale Makar. Like many other players on Colorado, Makar is not having the best start to the season. He only has 2 goals and 8 points so far this season. If an owner is impatient, perhaps you could get one of the best defensemen in the league for a steal. John Klingberg. John Klingberg is having a bad start to the season. He only has 3 points so far this year. He is usually a perennial 30 to 40 point defenseman, so I expect him to finish with that same production by the end of the year. Klingberg is a good buy low candidate because he has very little value right now. Robin Lehner. Robin Lehner is having a subpar start to the season with a 7-6 record, a 2.93 GAA, and .917 save percentage. Vegas has a ton of injuries right now and could be losing a ton of games in the coming weeks. However, Lehner and the Golden Knights are expected to have a dominant second half. Try to get Lehner while his value is low. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at HOCKEYWIZ777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on anchor.fm/HOCKEYWIZ777scouting. Players to trade away in fantasy hockey. Matt Duchene. Matt Duchene has had a red-hot start to the season, scoring 9 goals, 16 points, and 5 power play points so far this year. It would be a good idea to sell high on Duchene while he is playing well. Jordan Kyrou. Jordan Kyrou has had a great start to the season, scoring 7 goals, 17 points, and 6 power play points so far this year. Kyrou's value has never been higher, so it's a good time to sell high while you can. Troy Terry. Troy Terry has had a red-hot start to the season, scoring 11 goals, 21 points, and 6 power play points so far this year. Terry's value has never been higher, so it's a good time to sell high while you can. Tony DeAngelo. Tony DeAngelo is having an excellent start to the season. He has 14 points, 6 power play points, and is a plus 13 so far this year. He has been an excellent replacement on the blue line for Dougie Hamilton, and is a sell high candidate, especially in keeper leagues. Nick Jensen. Nick Jensen is having a great start to the season, tallying 2 goals and 6 points, and is a plus 14 this season. Jensen also has 31 hits and 26 blocks, which makes him a great asset to have in fantasy. Jensen is a player who you should sell high on because you don't know how long he can sustain this performance for. John Gibson. John Gibson is off to a hot start to the season with a 9-2 record, a 2.33 GAA, and a .925 save percentage. Gibson is one of the reasons the Ducks are off to a hot start, but how long can they sustain their performance for? If you have Gibson, it would be a great idea to sell high on him. Check out my hockey blog at HOCKEYWIZTalksHockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at HOCKEYWIZ777. Here are some key trading tips. You should trade for players at a low cost. Trade for second half players, trade for injured players, and trade for players who have had slow starts. You should trade away players for a high return, trade away players having hot starts, and trade away streaky players. In my next podcast, I'll be talking about players to drop or hold in fantasy hockey.